special pre-gavel that we're going to commence. So I just want to thank everyone for joining us today. As Commissioner in charge of Prosper Portland, it's my pleasure to introduce a resolution honoring Prosper Portland Project Manager Amanda Park for her service to the city and community. Amanda has been behind the scenes playing a huge role in the betterment of Portland's vibrancy and energy, and we're here to celebrate her excellent work and exemplary efforts. Our community is better for this work, which has ranged from the very successful My People's Market, the Every Wednesday campaign, several rounds of community events grants, and the Mercatus Business Registry to citywide activations, and most recently, the first downtown winter ice rink in 24 years. The past years have not been easy for the Central City, and Amanda's own work, as well as her stellar teamwork and partnerships with organizations throughout Portland, have made a difference for our small businesses and retailers. So I want to thank Amanda for being a wonderful example of the city's hardworking staff. We're so lucky to have you. And an example of how Amanda's work has been, how critical her work has been, we have a couple of our critical partners here to say a few words. These invited guests are incredible leaders themselves who have such a deep commitment to the city and who work collaboratively with one another and the city to bring us some of the most wonderful events. Most recently, the ice skating rink and the Winter Village, which was led by Amanda's team with the support of the Portland Water Bureau, Portland Parks and Recreation, and our county partners. I want to especially thank the team at Pioneer Courthouse Square, Travel Portland, and the Portland Metro Chamber for your continued collaboration and support. With that, I would first like to call Jennifer Pulver with the Pioneer Courthouse Square, then Billy Moser with Travel Portland, and finally Sydney Mead with the Portland Metro Chamber. Jennifer, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, commissioners, for inviting Pioneer Courthouse Square to be here today to celebrate the success of this year's holiday season and to honor Amanda Park for her continuing contributions to help build a better downtown. Each holiday season, the square works in collaboration with civic partners and community stakeholders to create and deliver flagship holiday events that bring tens of thousands of people to the heart of our downtown. This year, our team was grateful for the opportunity to collaborate with Prosper Portland to bring the Holiday Brewfest back to downtown and to work directly with Amanda Park. Amanda was enormously helpful in collaborating on unified messaging and branding with downtown stakeholders to support the delivery of a broad range of holidays activities that were occurring throughout downtown. And based on the crowds that we have seen, those efforts have clearly paid off. Despite the challenges we've faced, the holiday events that we've been able to host at the square this year have all exceeded attendance, by large margins over previous years, and have benefited from the stakeholder coordination that was been facilitated by Amanda. The 39th annual tree lighting ceremony attracted a crowd of 19,000. The downtown caroling competition grew to engage retailers, restaurateurs, and hoteliers with an audience of 3,000 attendees filling the blocks surrounding the square. On the first night of Hanukkah, we hosted the lighting of the city's public menorah with more than 1,200 attendees dancing and singing together. And last Saturday, in conjunction with the ice rink's grand opening, the Tuba Christmas concert attracted its largest crowd that we've ever had of nearly 8,000 people. None of these events would be possible without the square's dedicated and hardworking staff, for which I'm grateful, and the collaborative leadership of the city who's bringing us all together, and especially people like Amanda, who work to ensure that we have a downtown that is friendly and welcoming. And the square is grateful, very grateful for all of Amanda's efforts and look forward to her continued collaboration to bring people back to the heart of our city. So thank you, Amanda.
Thank you, Jennifer. Next, we have Billy.
Thank you for inviting Travel Portland to help celebrate the excellent work that is happening in our downtown and one of the rock stars making this happen, Amanda Park. As we all know, downtown and the Central City are the beating heart of Portland, the region, and our beautiful state as well. It is downtown that welcomes visitors from near and far. The Central City is home to approximately 10,000 hotel rooms for leisure and business travelers and convention delegates from all over the United States and international markets as well. The collaboration of the many organizations and individuals partnering to bring back vitality into our core has been tremendous, and it has been noticed. Two of them are here as well today, Jennifer Pulver and her team at Pioneer Square, and Sydney Mead and her team at the Portland Metro Chamber. Together with Prosper Portland, Travel Portland is so proud to have been a co-founder of My People's Market in 2017. From the beginning, Amanda Park has been a visionary and critical to the event's success. Now, under Amanda's leadership, the 13th market was just held. But in addition to the large market, she has helped coordinate and source vendors for smaller markets as well, in pop-up style, Portland style, for conventions. It has been a joy to watch the market flourish and to see so many locals, leisure travelers, and convention delegates connect with small BIPOC-owned businesses through all these avenues. Today, Travel Portland is delighted to join everyone to thank Amanda Park for a never-ending hard work, her creative thinking and always being focused on the solutions, her beyond excellent project management skills, and maybe most importantly, her delightful attitude and just being such a joy to work with on the downtown projects, as well as My People's Markets and everything else. Thank you, Amanda, for everything you do every day for our city and our destination.
Thank you, Billy. Now, Sydney.
Good morning. My name is Sydney Mead, and I am honored to stand before you as the Senior Director of Downtown Programs for Downtown Portland Clean and Safe and the Portland Metro Chamber. Today, I wish to celebrate not only the success of the Portland Winter Ice Rink, but also recognize the incredible efforts of a true leader and a visionary, Amanda Park from Prosper Portland. In my role, I oversee the Visit Downtown campaign, a program in partnership with the City of Portland that has been weaving a cohesive brand and marketing strategy for downtown for the last 14 years. Today, as we gather for this moment of celebration, I'm mindful of the challenging times our city has weathered. We have faced headwinds that have tested the resilience of our community, and while we're not completely out of the woods, I stand here surrounded by passionate advocates for downtown and for Portland. In recent polls conducted with our downtown businesses, the numbers tell a story of adversity. 85% report losing customers due to perceived safety issues. 72% grapple with graffiti removal and vandalism, and 48% have had employees leave to safety concerns. These statistics mark the time and place we find ourselves in. And yet, in these challenges, I feel I am witnessing a shift. Recent significant steps taken in downtown around safety, graffiti removal, light installations, and additional funds for promoting local businesses have sparked positive feedback from our retail and hotel community. There is a palatable sense of hope that we are turning the tide for downtown. Safety and cleanliness alone are not enough. People need compelling reasons to visit downtown. This brings us to the heart of this celebration today, the Portland Winter Ice Rink, an idea that has been a dream for far too long. And thanks to the relentless dedication of Amanda Park for making this dream a reality. Amanda has been the driving force behind this project, navigating challenges, and there have been a few, and turning aspirations into a safe, fun-filled reality for everyone. In a time when our community craves a reason to come together, the Portland Winter Ice Rink stands as a shining example of what we can achieve when passionate individuals lead with vision and determination. Today, as we celebrate the success of this project, let us also acknowledge that projects like these are not just ice rinks, they are beacons of hope, stirring our imagination and reminding us of the resilience and creativity that define Portland. To Amanda, Prosper Portland, and to all of you, thank you for your time and for your unwavering commitment to the city. Together, let's continue to build on this momentum and ensure a brighter future for downtown Portland.
Thank you so much, Sydney and Billy and Jennifer. And just a quick correction, I said that it was a resolution, it is a proclamation. So I just want to make that clear to everybody. In my excitement, I made that mistake. I see that my colleague, Commissioner Mouse, do you have a quick question before we proceed?
No, I just wanted to take a moment to, number one, thank you, Commissioner, for bringing this item forward. And I want to thank Amanda for her service to our city. The kind of activations that we heard about today that Amanda has championed are crucial to our city's recovery and our city's vitality. And I want Amanda to know that this council sees you, and the people of Portland see you. And thank you very much for the work that you do.
Thank you, Commissioner Maps. And my colleagues, would you like to share any thoughts before we move on to Amanda?
Oh, I'd like to hear from Amanda, actually.
Great. All right, we'll turn it over to you, Amanda.
Thank you, Commissioner Rubio, and council members, Sydney, Billy, Jennifer, thank you for being here, and the kind words. Overwhelming, unexpected, and the activations and energy that I've put into the city of Portland is a drop in the bucket, along with thousands of other folks that love our city and work every day really, really hard to make this a place where people want to come and visit and be with their families and their friends. The Portland Winter Ice Rink or My People's Market and every Wednesday or Mercatus, all these projects wouldn't have happened without partners that believe in a future that we can always be striving for something better. Folks that have folks that are willing to believe in audacious goals and dreams and see them come to life. Vida and Kalora, Michelle Comer in particular, she and I have been working together for 7 years, and literally almost every project that I've ever worked on, I've done alongside with her. It's such an honor to be recognized today, and I know that it's just a small part of a large group of people that really care. So thank you for the acknowledgement and the kind words, and I hope that I can't state enough how I'm a small piece of something that takes a whole city to come to life. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Amanda. We're so appreciative of your contributions, and you know that I think you're nothing short of amazing. You and your team, and even in your humility, you know, it's just a perfect example of why you're the exactly right person that we need at this time to lead a lot of these projects. So we appreciate you. We also have a proclamation for you that my staff, Angela Rica, will give you next time she sees you. But with that, I want to make sure that I give my other colleagues a chance to chime in before we read the final proclamation.
I can jump in. I just want to thank staff, Amanda, whole team, and Commissioner Rubio's office for the creativity here. I think it's all on all of us to how we revitalize not just downtown, but our city as a whole, reestablish the social fabric. And I just so appreciate the creativity. So keep it coming. Looking forward to the next awesome idea come from the city staff. So thank you again, and to our collaborators in the square. And in the chamber, but hoping we can do this throughout our city and continue to find ways to get people excited and happy again. Thank you.
Yeah, let me chime in. It was great to see the WHO was here this morning. You can tell you all know each other well and that you all work together collaboratively. And then it's always wonderful to meet a civil servant like Amanda, who I don't know very well, but to have you lifted, it's important that we take moments like this. So thank you, Commissioner Rubio, for your thoughtful leadership. And I do look forward to seeing some of the impacts of this activation, to see that currency went up this December as opposed to last December. And so we need to keep seeing those incremental wins. And this is all part of that journey. So this is a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, colleagues. So to conclude today's pre-gavel item, it's my privilege to read the following proclamation. Whereas Amanda Park, through her remarkable kindness, dedication, innovation, and skill as a project manager, has significantly contributed to the City of Portland and Prosper Portland's initiatives, And whereas her visionary leadership in the creation and management of initiatives like the Winter Ice Rink, My People's Market, the Mercatus Business Registry, and downtown activations have fostered community spirit and cultural diversity. And whereas Amanda Park's collaborative spirit and skill building relationships have demonstrated the value of partnerships and cross-functional teamwork to achieve the city's goals in inclusive economic development. And whereas Amanda Park's efforts have not only enhanced Portland's reputation as a vibrant and inclusive city, but have also been instrumental in boosting local commerce and social cohesion. And whereas her commitment to fostering an inclusive economy shines through in every initiative, ensuring that prosperity and opportunity are accessible to all members of our community. And whereas her pragmatic approach and tireless ability to get the work done have been a driving force behind the successful implementation of complex and impactful projects, solidifying her reputation as an effective and dynamic leader for our city. Now, therefore, on behalf of the City of Portland, Oregon, the City of Roses, do we hereby acknowledge and celebrate Amanda Park for her exceptional service and contributions to our city's development and enrichment, and extend our deepest gratitude for her commitment to making Portland a more connected and vibrant community. So thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.
With that, I want to thank all of you who joined us virtually today, and that will conclude our pre-gavel. So thank you everyone for joining us. Thanks everyone. So now you may start recording. And good morning, everyone. Today is December 20th, 2023, and this is the morning session of the Portland City Council meeting. Keelan, would you please call the roll?
Morning. Maps.
Here.
Camille.
Here.
Ryan.
Here.
Gonzalez.
Here.
Wheeler.
All right, so now we will hear from the city attorney.
Good morning. Welcome to the Portland City Council. To testify before council in person or virtually, you must sign up in advance on the council agenda at www.portland.gov/council/agenda. Information on engaging with city council can be found on the council clerk's webpage. The presiding officer preserves order and decorum during city council meetings. The presiding officer determines the length of testimony. Individuals generally have 3 minutes to testify unless otherwise stated. A timer will indicate when your time is done. Disruptive conduct such as shouting, refusing to conclude your testimony when your time is up, or interrupting others' testimony or council deliberations will not be allowed. If you cause a disruption, a warning will be given. Further disruption will result in ejection from the meeting. Anyone who fails to leave once ejected is subject to arrest for trespass. Additionally, council may take a short recess. Your testimony today should address the matter being considered. When testifying, state your name for the record. Your address is not necessary. Disclose if you are a lobbyist, and if you're representing an organization, please identify it. For testifiers joining virtually, please unmute yourself once the council clerk calls your name. Thank you.
Thank you, Naomi. So first up is communication. So Keelan, would you please call number 1053?
Request of Melissa Kostelecki to address council regarding removal of bike infrastructure designed for safety.
Morning.
Thank you, commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Melissa Kostelecki, and I'd like to start off by noting that I don't identify as a cyclist in the cultural sense of the word any more than I would consider myself a toothbrushing enthusiast, simply because it's something I do a couple times a day as a need. I'm passionate about biking because its potential for mitigating carbon emissions, but it just so happens to also be a more affordable form of transportation, one with vast health benefits, and let's face it, much more enjoyable than sitting in traffic and searching for parking. I initially wanted to speak to you today about recent removals of bike lanes, both proposed and implemented, but I'm sure you've heard an earful already, so I'm going to pivot away from safety concerns and instead point out what we stand to gain by hardening and significantly expanding our bike network. Last week, you heard a presentation from Travel Portland about how to bring tourists back and the need to reverse our tarnished reputation as an unsafe city. Mayor Wheeler noted that cities with good tourism have some unique aspect: cruise ships in Seattle, sports venues in Las Vegas. I'd like to challenge City Council to define our unique selling point and at the same time improve safety by expanding on a mission we started roughly 20 years ago, but never really completed. to make Portland the city where people move on foot, bike, and public transit and interact on the street. As Megan Conway noted, people want to come here and experience Portland like the locals do. The problem is that too many of the locals are now hidden away in metal and glass, hurrying by at 40 miles an hour. We've suffered a vicious cycle lately. As the pandemic pushed people indoors and emptied out the streets, crime and unsafe driving filled the void, further disincentivizing people from experiencing the city outside their own cars. A few recent studies indicate that biking has, quote, a wider impact on cities as tourism destinations by transforming places and slowing down urban routes, i.e. influencing the dynamics of cities as lived space, end quote. And I'm happy to provide those studies on request. Other cities are racing ahead of us on building out their bike networks, and we've already lost our place as America's bike and transit city. Turning this around would help Portland attract conventions aimed at companies and industries looking to tout their green efforts by making our city synonymous with sustainability. You may wonder what that looks like. Portland continues to improve its bike facilities, and for that, I'm grateful. But the roads still feel unsafe, and the data backs me up. This problem gets in our way of standing out as a unique American city worth visiting. So I encourage you to think bigger. Recently, a team of planners, including a former BPS employee, drafted a plan for an urban trail network. I highly encourage you to take a look for yourselves, but to sum it up, the network entails a system of fully protected bike lanes that would link our outer trails and greenways with key downtown and neighborhood destinations within the city. This safer, more attractive infrastructure would get Portlanders out in the open air, interacting with one another, looking out for one another, and create a safe, welcoming space for visitors to interact with locals. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you. Next item, Keelan.
Item 1054, request of Jeanne Connett to address council regarding little houses in St. John's neighborhood.
There you go.
Jeanne, are you there? Looks like we might have, oh, Jeanne, can you unmute?
I keep trying to.
Right.
Hold on. Oh, can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Yes.
Oh, how lovely. All right. My name is Jeanne Connett, and I was in your little houses as of May 26th or 24th. Can't be exactly sure. And I understand that there was $500 million given to these people, and seems how we didn't have coffee or water half the time, especially during that hot summer that we had. And I don't understand that. But then there's a lot of other things I don't understand. Like apparently all the mental health people were thrown out because the staff wasn't able to deal with that. And therefore they got thrown back into the street with no help and no whatever. And when I was there, I had to go to Home Forward to get housing list because they kept telling us in the little houses, there is no availability for apartments or homes in the state of Oregon. The only thing you can do is wait for this voucher. And I don't understand where the money went, although I saw a lot of guys driving brand new cars and all that. And I didn't really see us being taken care of. There were nights where people went hungry and there was not a meal for them. And most of what they bought for the little houses was really cheap from Walmart. And I don't know, I just don't understand where the money went, I guess. But then there's also the point of if they don't like you, the staff, they kind of pick on you. I was literally ran out of my little home on July 31st. And I have no idea what happened to my housing voucher or anything. And I don't understand why. And I don't understand why Ted Wheeler had to hire somebody outside of Oregon when I know that a captain of the police force came to him a couple years back, said, I got a plan. Sounded pretty damn good to me. And a woman wrote a book. And it was a very good book. And it's been bought on Amazon from lots of different people and places to deal with homeless. And it dealt with the mental health as well as children. We weren't allowed to have our grandchildren there or anything. So where'd the money go? And why was it handled like that? And what do I do about my housing? That's all I have to say. Well, okay, I could tell you that one of the staff members, being a jerk, walked into my place. I had on no pants and panties. Kind of threw me pretty bad. They promoted him, and now he runs one of those places. So I could include that, but that's, you know, and I don't understand why all that happened to you. Things got really bad for me after that. Apparently, it was the head woman. Right. That's it.
Thank you, Jan. So what I would love to do is if you're open to it, I'll have one of my staff connect with you to sort out and see about your housing voucher, if there's anything to explore there.
Okay.
Okay.
And what about the houses? Are you guys going to make sure that the people inside are, I mean, a lot of us lost, as if we would have stayed on the cut, we would have been ripped off less than we were in there. And a lot of people felt that way. So are you guys going to look into that?
Well, we'll make sure that my staff hears all of your concerns, and we'll see what we can do to get you answers to some of your questions, okay? And Commissioner Ryan, did you have something to say?
Yeah, I would just concur. We'll reach out as well. I don't know which tiny homes or houses she's talking about, what locations.
One's in St. John's.
There's St. John's Village, there's Precision.
Oh, no,
St.
not
John's
the village. No.
Okay,
No.
Peninsula Crossing.
Urban.
I got it. All right.
Okay.
We'll follow up. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jan.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Have a
All
great
right.
day, and thank you for questioning me on that guy, because I didn't know that you counted all them. So, and no, everybody else is great. Thank you very much for your time, and have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.
All right. Next item, Keelan.
Item 1055, request of Roger Gertenrich to address council regarding outdoor maritime displays in North Reach Willamette Greenway Trail.
And Mr. Jaron Rich asked for some extra time at the request of one of my colleagues. So we will go ahead and grant that extra time today as a courtesy.
I appreciate that. My name is Roger Gertenrich. I live in the Merriweather Tower in the South Waterfront. It's a privilege for me today to come here to present to you a special project from the people of Portland. What I'm going to do is define what my message will be. I will first tell you that what the project is. I will then outline the support that I have found from the individuals, and then I'll outline the support that is coming from organizations. I will then deal with the options of funding, and then I will wind up handing this project over to you. So it'll be the city's process. What the project amounts to is having a series of outdoor maritime displays placed along the trail pass of the North Reach Willamette River Greenway. So that's the project. The support comes from individuals. We have a petition where we have dozens and dozens and dozens of names on that petition. And we have emails from many other people. And some of the people you'll probably recognize, former Mayor Vera Katz, Chet Orloff, historian, Michael Powell of Powell's Bookstore, Norma Paulus, former Secretary of State, Donovan Red Tomahawk of the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe, Cynthia Parnell, AG Honorary State Regent of the Daughters of the Republic, and 2 times Mayor Wheeler told me he likes this project. With regards to the organizations of support. I have a file here which I'll hand in with letters of support. There's a bunch of them. And the key one here is a committee that you established, and that is the North Reach Willamette River Greenway Committee. They unanimously approved having this project happen and to send it to you to endorse it. The other supports we have from organizations, we have all three board of directors of the Meriwether, the Atwater, and the John Ross buildings. We have also the Oregon Maritime Museum, the PT boat, the Oregon World War II Memorial Foundation, Zidell Corporation, Amphibious Forces Memorial Museum, JHI Engineering, OHSU, the South Waterfront Community Association, the South Portland Neighbor Association, the Oregon Historical Society, the Office of Healthy and Working Waters, South Waterfront Nature and Green Space Committee, the Working Waterfront Coalition, the 27 companies, the Portland Parks Foundation, RAC, the Regional Art Culture Council, the Oregon African and American Museum, the Portland Spirit, OMSI, the U.S. Navy League, River Place Plant Community, Kaiser Permanente, the National College of Medicine, the Columbia River Fish Committee, South Portland Business Association, the Hood Coast Rally, March Wellness, Grand Round, Confederate Tribes, Tidewater Tugboats, Design Museum, Emirate International, Willamette Jet Boats, the Hood, Mount Hood Sacred Lands Preservation Alliance, the Shanghai Tunnels, the Cascade Geographic Society. With respect to the funding, I have from formations, they're the ones that did this display. They did the displays in the Astoria Maritime Museum. So this is an example. You can see, you can have the cutouts of the original residents of the river, the heron, eagles, beaver, and that type of thing. They said that they would design, build, and install these displays, 6 of them for $30,000. That's $5,000 each. Joe Molesky, the Prosperous Portland, the project manager, also says that these displays will qualify for TIF money, tax increment financing, and also RAC, I think, will be able to help. And there's also private funding. Kaiser Permanente and Working Waterfront Coalition have told me that they are interested in funding one of their own displays. So at this point, this is the only project I've done, and I've done a lot of projects where every single individual that I met and every single organization that I went to ask for their support gave it enthusiastically. I've never had that happen, 100%. So this is very popular, and I'd like to see this happen. So at this time, I'm handing over this project to you and for your kind care, and hopefully we'll see these outdoor maritime displays very soon on the Greenway.
Thank you. Commissioner Maps.
Mr. Gertenrich, I want to thank you so much for coming in today, especially coming in today in person. I also appreciate your advocacy on behalf of this project. I believe I've heard of this before, so I think you've been busy for quite a while. I agree with you. I think this sounds like an important and feasible project. I think one of the challenges here is that it's probably not clear to anyone on council exactly whose portfolio this falls under. But as the commissioner in charge of the Bureau of Environmental Services, I have a lot of responsibilities along the river. So if you, we can get the ball rolling if you'd like by sharing your paperwork with me. I'll give it to Jack in my office who handles this policy space. And I'm not quite sure where we go from there, but we'll take a look at what you have and try to figure out a way to move forward. And if you have paper in front of you that you want to get to me, you could probably give it to Keelan, and somehow Jack in my office can get the paper from Keelan, or you could email it to us, whatever makes sense.
Yeah, this also meets all the state goals, and I have listed them all here. So that's in the report as well.
Great. Thank you so much. We do appreciate your advocacy on behalf of the city of Portland.
Well,
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger.
All right. Thank you. Keelan, can we go on to the next item, please?
Item 1056, request of Giselle Johnson to address council regarding need for open space and parks within existing Northwest developments and future concerns with Montgomery Park.
Welcome.
Hello, I'm Giselle. I'm a Northwest resident for over 30 years. And what I'm coming today to talk to you is the need to have more open space and other activity within the Northwest. Just as a quick background, we in the Northwest have grown 40% in the last couple of years, with the total households in Portland at the same time, just 7%. We have similar rates to the city in the prevalence of food insecurity and below poverty income, and our median income is much lower at $62K per year versus $73K. I've included this in my written testimony as an accompaniment. As what I want to talk about, I've been, as I mentioned, over 30 years here, and I've seen our parks and rec and open space actually step back rather than moving forward. In that time alone, we have lost the Metropolitan Learning Center pool, the Wallace water feature. There was a wading pool that was taken away for safety, but the promised splash pad is not materialized. The Hillside Community Center has transitioned into private hands, and we have a degradation of the Cooch Park. Also, just missing outright is a neighborhood community center, a neighborhood pool, and neighborhood courts, football, soccer, basketball, etc. So in the neighborhood, since 2014, we've actually developed 40 new high-density residential projects. That's almost 5,000 households that have been added there. Again, that goes back to we've grown by 40% compared to the city total housing grown at just 7%. The infill equals smaller units with no external green spaces. This is in line with the city density goals, but we need to make sure we're complementing those goals with also a quality of living that is provided by open space and green areas. As a result, the new homes have paid taxes of over $20 million into the park's SDC fund to offset their impacts. We realize that's a citywide activity, but to date, no visible use of those portion of the SDC funds have returned to the Northwest Portland. Our call to action: we'd like to complete the Slabtown Park development. The private developer is prepared to transfer the land at no cost. The concern of the remediation of pollution should be addressed by the funding of the SDC fees. And if the city can purchase land around the west end of the Morrison Bridge for $8 million, which I assume has some remediation as well, surely the Slabtown Park can be finalized. And as we look forward, we've got Montgomery Park and ESCO coming on, and the current planning focus is to combine spots of open public private property. This is not under a certain, there's not under one ownership, there's not one under direction. And we've seen in the past that this has not worked for true open consideration of parks and recreation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Commissioner Ryan.
Yes, Giselle, thank you so much for showing up and speaking to some concerns that I understand, and it was helpful to listen to you articulate it. We do have some good news on the development of Slabtown. We'll be announcing that soon. But Jill and my team will be reaching out to you to make sure that everything is thoroughly caught by what you delivered. And to my colleagues, I think when we had the recent discussion about infill and housing density on the east side, I was surprised that even some of the activists from Portland Neighbors Welcome didn't mention the need for green space as we do this development. But I know it's a value that we all have, and we do need to figure that out as we continue to promote density and look at how we can provide matching green spaces in those units, like big cities do with density. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. You were heard, and it was needed. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, Keelan, next item.
Item 1057, request of Marita Abatzi to address council regarding humanitarian concerns. Marita, you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Perfect. Oh, here we go. Just a second. Okay, perfect. Good morning, commissioners. We have reached a time when constituents must reach out to elected officials and seek support in bringing an end to a genocide that is unfolding before our eyes. For 75 days now and continuing, a population of approximately 2.3 million under occupation for 75 years had their basic humanitarian needs terminated. That includes water, food, and aid, among other things. Over 25,000 lives have been taken, almost half of which are children, at the expense of our taxpayer dollars. The taxpayer dollars that face budgetary limitations in assisting this country's very own population and providing basic needs like food, housing, and healthcare. But when it comes to purchasing and providing weapons to other countries, the spending is limitless. In Gaza, women are undergoing C-sections without anesthesia. Children are having their limbs amputated without anesthesia. I have seen children become orphans. Some are only 5 or 6 years old and they're having to become parents to their younger siblings, being robbed of their childhood and having to become adults without even a chance to grow up. I have seen newborn babies quivering, shaking, crying alone in severe pain with burns all over their face and body. Some children have lost their vision entirely because of the severity of the burns. According to CNN, nearly half of the bombs that Israel has used are dumb bombs, which means they are unguided, directionless bombs that strike anything and anyone. The goal is clearly not precision. Over the weekend, 20 sick and injured Palestinians sheltering in a hospital courtyard were bulldozed and buried alive. Israel has killed 283 doctors, nurses, and other health professionals, 133 UN staff members, bombed 24 hospitals in Gaza, and currently 90% of the population has been displaced. And now, just 5 days before Christmas, when people have a list of toys and gadgets that they want, you have approximately 700 Christians in Gaza that want water, food, aid, and to live. I recently heard a comedian say something along the lines of, I suffer from this condition called empathy. We learned through this tragedy that there are so many people that suffer from that. They have voiced their concerns. They are the constituents that voted you into office. Commissioners, do you hear the protesters chanting ceasefire? Do you hear them chanting free, free Palestine? Do you hear the protesters on Burnside Bridge, Fremont Bridge? Do you hear them right outside of City Hall? On November 21st, about a month ago, a resolution for a ceasefire was passed by the city of Seattle in the neighboring state of Washington. And the casualties was a little over half of where it is today. November 27th, a little under a month ago, a resolution calling for ceasefire was passed in the city of Oakland, the neighboring state of California. And on November 16th, over a month ago, the mayor of Talent, Oregon, another city within the state, wrote a letter that was endorsed by the city council to their representative and demanded a ceasefire. My last question I have for you is this: 20 years from now, when your children, grandchildren, nieces or nephews or any other individual asks you, what did you as an elected official do during that genocide, that historic moment that took place during your time? What are you going to tell them? That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Marita, for your comments. And thank you everyone for your testimony today. Keelan, does that include our communications?
That does.
Okay, so if there are no other comments from my colleagues, I'd like to move us to the consent agenda before we begin time certain.
No items have been pulled.
Okay, no items. Okay, so then let's call the roll, please.
Epps,
Aye.
Ryan,
Aye.
Gonzalez,
Aye.
Rubio.
Aye. So that passes. So now let's move on to time certain. Can you read the first item, Keelan?
Item 1058, appoint and reappoint members to the Arts Education and Access Fund Oversight Committee for terms to expire December 31st, 2027.
Commissioner Ryan.
Colleagues, today I have the honor of introducing 5 community members who have expressed their interest in joining the Arts Education and Access Fund Oversight Committee. I want to start by celebrating the work of the AE has accomplished and thank Portlanders for valuing arts education and recognizing the critical role in providing every student with equitable access to high-quality arts education experience. I will now hand the mic over to City Arts Program Manager Jeff Hawthorne and Chair of AEAF Oversight Committee, Jen Falco, to present the item. Jen, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Commissioner Ryan, and good morning, members of City Council. For the record, my name is Jeff Hawthorne, and I'm the City Arts Program Manager. As Commissioner said, today we are asking you to appoint 5 new members to the Arts Education and Access Fund Oversight Committee. You may hear us refer to it as the AOC for short. And we are also looking to reappoint 2 members, including my co-presenter today, Jen Falco. As a reminder, the Arts Education and Access Fund was approved by 62% of Portland voters in 2012. And the goals of the AEAF are clear: to fund arts teachers in every school for every K-5 student in Portland, and to provide grants to make arts events more accessible and affordable to the general public, with a special emphasis on programs for underserved communities. A 5-year impact report was approved by this council in September, and it reminds us why the AEAF is so important. Before the AEAF, many schools didn't have an arts teacher, but today, every K-5 student in Portland's 6 school districts has access to quality arts education. 30,000 students in all are served by the fund. In addition, more than $30 million has been awarded over the last 10 years as grants to arts organizations, helping them make their programs and services more accessible and affordable to all Portlanders. Of course, the AEAF Oversight Committee plays an important role in the success of this program. They review expenditures and make sure that all funds are being used as the voters intended. This advisory body can have between 10 and 20 members. And with these appointments today, the committee will stand at 13 members. I want to let you all know that we are leaving 7 slots open strategically so that we can recruit more folks from East Portland this spring. So now to tell you more about the nominees and the work that they do, I'd like to turn it over to our committee chair, Jen Falco.
Thank you, Jeff, so much for that introduction. For the record, my name is Jen Falco. I'm the chair of the Arts Education and Access Fund Oversight Committee. It's truly my pleasure to be here today. When Portlanders voted to restore school arts and music education and to fund arts back in 2012, they also established our independent committee as an accountability measure. As Jeff mentioned, the purpose of our group is to include members of Portland's diverse communities to ensure the fund is being implemented as required, to review expenditures made, and to report findings in a public record annually. Rest assured, a lengthy report will follow from us sometime in the new year. The AEAF supports arts education in our 6 Portland school district and serves, as Jeff said, more than 30,000 students, 30,000 K-5 students. It also provides millions of dollars to organizations that provide high quality arts programming and access across our city. This fund teaches kids how to paint, sing, dance, play, perform. And as I've mentioned previously, we know this work changes lives with improvements in writing achievement, emotional and cognitive empathy, school engagement, and higher education aspirations among kids who are exposed to arts education. Our committee is comprised of community members who choose to use their free time to stand up for arts education and access. Today, it is my pleasure to recommend this new group of members. Each submitted a comprehensive, very lengthy application to the city. They attended an information session outlining the history of our committee's responsibilities, our available volunteer roles, and they ultimately chose to move forward and apply for 4-year terms. Dr. Mark Wubold will join us as the Tax Supervising and Conservation Committee's representative. This is a full circle appointment for him. Although he's joining us at this point in time, he was actually on the first Oversight Committee back in 2012. His focus will, of course, be helping to ensure our scarce public resources are being used as the taxpayers intended. Stepping up for her second term, a reappointment, Carly Smith is a queer Latinx woman of Indigenous descent, former downtown small business owner, arts producer organizer, and also a beginner weaver. Carly believes that exposure to the arts is an important part of a child's overall development and is dedicated to ensuring that all children in Portland have opportunities to experience the world and learn about themselves through arts. In addition, I'm happy to recommend 4 new members in alphabetical order. Elima Considine is a musician, filmmaker, and a queer Asian mom. In addition to her experience with community management and policy, she has experience as a grants recipient, writer, and panelist. As a mother, she's deeply interested in ways that arts keep students engaged and invested in their school experience and in the life-changing results which grow from this engagement. Melanie A. Hernandez is a fashion designer, brand strategist, and is currently establishing herself as a practitioner in ancient wisdom. In large part due to the land back movement, Melanie recently learned she has Indigenous heritage. She now focuses on re-indigenizing and ancestral healing through the integration of the sacred sciences, mystical arts, and great mystery studies. She aspires to bring her accumulated professional experience and wisdom to support kids and arts access. Frank Medrano is a senior architect and project manager. He is an active member of the National Organization of Minority Architects and a local DEI champion. He's committed to strategies that fight racism while furthering efforts to address unique challenges within our community. Through his professional work and his community outreach, he has joined the mission to empower youth to affect change in our communities through design. Ruth Juliet Wickler is a nonprofit and performing arts leader passionate about ensuring that all Portlanders have access to the arts. She founded a Portland arts nonprofit and produced its first 7 seasons, introducing audiences to diverse groups of artists from around the world. She recently returned to us from Montreal, where she served in a field-leading position in the global contemporary circus sector, and as a public school parent, is also excited to contribute to the success of the AEAF. New committee members, I want to welcome you. We're so very excited to have you. Members of council, thank you for your consideration and for appointing members to our committee. This concludes our presentation. Jeff and I are happy to answer any questions you might have in partnership for Kids and Arts Access.
Great, thank you. Is there any public testimony for this item?
No one signed up.
All right, Commissioner Maps.
I want to thank Jeff and Jen for today's presentation. I have a couple of just nuts and bolts questions. So how large is this committee now, or can it be?
It can be 20 members. Once these new members are appointed, it will be 13 members.
Do we have any language around what a quorum is, or is the concept of a quorum for this committee relevant?
Half of the seated members plus 1.
Half of the seated members plus 1. Okay, thank you for that. Now, here's where I just happen, I support this project. I'm grateful to these volunteers. I'm just looking at your term dates, and it seems like you have, like, everyone that we're appointing today is going to, I think,
4 years from today.
Yeah, so 4 years from today, you're going to lose a big hunk of your committee. Do you have this kind of sequenced correctly in order to have continuity?
We just transitioned to new bylaws, and you're seeing in part the effect of the transition to moving to your best practices bylaws within the city. But we are looking at the staggering, and we have some members who will term next year, and so we are paying attention to that.
Okay. I'm glad you are, and thank you for today's presentation. Madam President, I got no more questions.
Great. Any further conversation? If there's no further discussion, is there a motion to accept the report?
So moved. Oh, sorry. If there are questions, obviously, but I'll make that motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All right, Keelan, would you please call the roll?
Maps.
I want to thank Jeff and Jen for today's presentation. I also want to thank these volunteers for agreeing to serve on this important committee. I vote aye.
Ryan.
Yeah, I want to thank Jeff and Jen. That was a really good report. I think it was very thorough. Your leadership and your oversight of the AEAF is really clear today and every time I've been around you. So thank you so much. And really glad that we have people renewing for a second term. It really helps when you have that type of capacity. And we're here to support you in anything you need. I also want to thank those who renewed their service and our new members, Lima, Melanie, Frank, Ruth, Mark, welcome. It really was wonderful to read about your bios. You definitely bring deep, vast experience. And, your one role is to really ensure that taxpayer dollars are being spent wisely. I think we can also work together to better celebrate Arts Education and Access Fund. I think it's been a little too quiet. And I really love that we had a report that was presented to the City Council recently after a few years of that not happening, to really show our community that we all need arts education. And I also want to make sure that I was really pleased. I know I've talked to Jeff about this, the importance of holding those spots and doing outreach into the school districts east of Portland Public Schools. And so I liked the strategic decision of not filling all the seats with parents that just happen to live in the Portland Public School District area. We always want to make sure that we have balance in our inclusion. Arts teachers really do amazing work in our schools. It's very underappreciated, I think, sometimes. And I can't think of a more important time in our evolution of humanity where I think hearts are hardened constantly by some of the challenges that we experience, to soften our hearts and to open up our heart and our heads through art. Art is for everyone, and it's really important to establish that foundation in the primary years. I vote aye. Thank you.
Gonzalez.
So appreciate your willingness to serve for all those sign on. I vote aye.
Rubio.
I too want to join my colleagues in appreciating all your work and your commitment to this oversight committee, and welcome to the new appointees, and thank you to the returning ones. Happy to vote aye. And the report is accepted. So thank you, everyone. So Keelan, would you please call the next item?
Item 1066, amend Tourism Improvement District Code to modify the license assessment rate and remove the periodic sunset review requirement.
Since this is a second reading, and if there is no further discussion, seeing none, Keelan, would you please call the roll?
Apps.
I want to thank the Mayor and Commissioner Rubio for bringing this item forward. The reforms that are brought forward here are an important step towards stabilizing our hospitality industry, which is why I vote aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Rubio.
I want to again thank Jeff, James, and Megan from Travel Portland and Carl for providing a compelling case for the TID. It bears repetition that the slow recovery of the travel and hospitality industry since the pandemic is not only concerning, it's alarming. We should all be concerned. So it's going to take strong partnerships and decisive action and determined persistence. And we need to be full partners to our travel and hospitality industry. So I'm proud to be a partner on that road, and glad to see my colleagues as well, and happy to support this. I vote aye. So with that, the ordinance is adopted. Keelan, would you please call the next item?
Item 1067, accept a bid of $4,073,723 from Brown Contracting Incorporated for the Brentwood Darlington Bike Pedestrian Improvements Project.
And today I am introducing this on the mayor's behalf. This report authorizes construction for the Portland Bureau of Transportation's Brentwood Darlington Bike Pedestrian Improvements Project. It authorizes sidewalk infill, neighborhood greenway design treatment, pavement markings, speed bumps, stop sign and crossing improvements, and new pedestrian and bicycle connections in the Brentwood Darlington area. So Chief Procurement Officer Biko Taylor is here to present this item. Mr. Taylor.
Good morning, Madam President Rubio, members of council. For the record, my name is Biko Taylor. I am the Chief Procurement Officer. I'm going to give a report on item 1067. On December 7th, 2022, a council approved ordinance 191 089 for procurement services to competitively solicit the Brentwood Darling Bike Pedestrian Improvement Projects in accordance with PCC 5.34. We advertised bids for project 0002142 on behalf of the Portland Bureau of Transportation with a project construction estimate of $4.091 million. PBOT rated the project estimate confidence level as moderate. Ordinance 179568 authorized the Bureau of Transportation to participate in ODOT's local public agency certification. So I just want to point out that this is an ODOT project. Brown Contracting was the apparent low bidder and is the recommended awardee. Brown's total bid came in at a little over $4 million, which is approximately 0.4% below the engineering estimate. This is an ODOT federally funded project. Therefore, the city's standard 20% aspirational goal does not apply to this solicitation. ODOT's Office of Civil Rights has assigned a DBE goal of 14%. Brown Contracting has met the goal by providing an opportunity for B&B Excavating to perform 14.73% of this contract. A bit of information about Brown Contracting. Brown Contracting is located in Eugene, Oregon. Brown Contracting is not a state co-bid certified contractor, although they do have a current City of Portland business tax registration and are in full compliance with the city's contracting requirements. If there are any questions about the procurement process, I am happy to answer those now. And we also have my colleague from PBOT, Project Manager Brian Poole, to answer questions as well. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Director Taylor. Colleagues, are there any questions or comments on this item? Okay, Keelan, is there any public testimony on this item?
You had one person sign up, John Fisher, but I don't believe they are here.
Okay. All right.
Rubio. Yeah. I just want to do a little more dialogue about the difference between the city's aspirational goal with COVID and the state. And is there a dialogue between the city when there are projects that are in our market that get them to try to move to the goal that we have?
That's a great question, Commissioner Ryan. And I believe that the state is bound by stipulations called out in the federal contract here. So because this was federal grant funding, the state is bound to adhere to the stipulations of the federal grant. Okay. So while federal
doesn't have any COVID goals.
Not COVID specifically, DBE goals. So the state of Oregon, we acknowledge that's our COVID is our assertion of a firm's candidacy as diverse. The Fed, they will have their own certification that they actually follow and that they advocate for. So DBE is the goal for the federal grant.
Okay, that's really helpful. I know this gets somewhat in the weeds, but it also gets to the heart of the matter when we talk about living our equity values. This really operationalizes equity. And so I hope that the government affairs, when we work with our Portland delegation, both in Salem and with the federal delegation, continues to have dialogue about having the state and the feds align with us better on these values. So I just hope that we continue to make that a part of our legislative agenda as well. Thank you for you always give such really crisp answers that helps me understand the nuances of these handoffs. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner Ryan.
You're welcome.
Colleagues, any other comments or questions on this item? Okay, this is a report. Keelan, would you please call the roll to accept the report?
Madam President, I'll move to accept the report. Do we have to do that step?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll move to accept the report.
I'll second it.
Thank you. So Keelan, would you please call the roll?
Yes, thank you. Maps,
I want to thank Director Taylor for his work on this project and today's presentation. Colleagues, if you haven't been following this project closely, we have heard about it in the past, and it really is a good one, which will improve transportation options and safety in this particular neighborhood. Those are the reasons why I am glad to vote to accept the report before us today. Thank you.
Ryan.
Aye.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Rubio.
Aye, the report is accepted. Thank you, Director Taylor and Keelan. Next item, please.
Item 1068, accept bid of $5,474,999 from the OR Incorporated for the Northeast 6th Drive Pump Station project.
Thank you. This report authorizes upgrades to bring the Northeast 6th Drive Pump Station into conformance with the Bureau of Environmental Services current standards. The pump station has been in service for 45 years and has exceeded its designed useful life. These upgrades will include new equipment and features to improve long-term reliability and reliance with our municipal wastewater collection system. Chief Procurement Officer Taylor is once again here to present this item.
Thank you, Madam President. Again, for the record, my name is Biko Taylor. I'm the Chief Procurement Officer. On March 15, 2023, Council approved Ordinance 191206, which granted BES authority to demonstrate a need for this project. The engineering estimate for the project at the time was $4.5 million, and the confidence level was moderate. Procurement Services issued the invitation to bid on July 26, 2023, with a due date of September 12, 2023. In total, we received 3 bids for this project. OR Incorporated was the low bidder and the recommended awardee. OR's project proposal came in at $5.74 million, which is 20% over budget. The city's 20% aspirational goals did apply to the solicitation, and I'll give you a brief breakdown of the utilization that OR Incorporated submitted. 67% of the project will be completed by OR Incorporated. 4.45% of the project will be completed by certified co-bid contractors, and 28.4% of this project will be completed by non-certified subcontractors. I would like to point out a few things about participation here. OR did not meet the aspirational goal for this project. We have an aspirational goal of 20%. OR submitted a plan of 4.45%. I've since had meetings with my compliance department, and we've gone over the challenges of why OR did not meet their goal. OR did not receive the requisite number of bids from MBEs or co-bids contractors on this project. But I would like to point out that OR is now a certified co-bid contractor. OR is a Native American-owned minority contractor. So on the surface, it looks like we didn't meet our aspirational goal, but cumulatively, 70% of this project will be completed by a co-bid certified contractor. OR is located in Turner, Oregon, and is a state co-bid certified contractor, and is registered as a Native American male-owned firm. They have a current City of Portland business tax registration and are in full compliance with all of the city's contracting requirements. If there are any questions about the procurement process, I'm happy to answer those questions. And we do have one of our colleagues from BES on to answer questions as well. That is Cyrus Osborne. This will conclude my report.
Thank you, Director Taylor. Keelan, is there public testimony on this item?
No one signed up.
Okay, colleagues, is there any discussion or questions on this item? All right, may I have a motion to accept the report?
So moved.
Is there a second? Thank you. First and second. So Keelan, would you please call the roll to accept?
Epps.
Aye.
Ryan.
Director Taylor, thank you so much for that explanation. I was looking through the details and I thought I came up with a similar conclusion, but it was very good to hear what you had to say. And I hope that we just continue to work with our general contractors so that they can, and provide more outreach so that we can get the subcontractor number up in the future. That said, I vote aye.
Gonzalez,
Aye.
Rubio,
Director Taylor, thanks again for that explanation. It was really helpful context. I vote aye, and the report is accepted. So now we will move on to the next item. Please, Keelan.
item 1069, pay settlement of Sarah Emel bodily injury lawsuit for $350,000 resulting from a motor vehicle collision involving the Portland Police Bureau.
Colleagues, this ordinance resolves a lawsuit brought against the city in September of 2022. Deputy City Attorney Mallory Beebe and Senior Claims Analyst Dave Farrow are here to walk us through the ordinance. Welcome, Mallory and Dave.
Thank you, Commissioner. My name is Mallory Beebe, and I am a Deputy City Attorney. This claim arises out of injuries that Sarah Emel sustained as a result of a collision with a city-owned vehicle on Southwest Tualatin Sherwood Road in Sherwood.
Maybe
On
we should have
September
turned our camera
17th.
off.
With the Portland Police Bureau.
Yeah, turn your camera off. There you
There
go.
you go.
That's probably working.
Okay, sorry about that. Should I start over? Would that be most helpful? I don't know where I
That
cut
would be
out.
great. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that. So this claim arises out of injuries that Sarah Emel sustained as a result of a collision with a city-owned vehicle on Tualatin Sherwood Road in Sherwood, Oregon on September 17th of 2020. A Portland Police Bureau sergeant was operating a Portland Police Chevy Tahoe, which collided with the rear of Miss Emel's minivan that she was driving. Miss Emel presented evidence of extensive treatment and significant injuries to her cervical, thoracic, and lumbar spine, as well as some additional internal injuries. She also presented evidence of lost wages. Risk management in the city attorney's office determined that resolution was in the best interest of both parties and negotiated both informally and then again at a mediation and agreed upon a settlement of $350,000 to resolve this claim. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Colleagues, is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, this is an emergency ordinance. Keelan, would you please call the roll? Oh,
President Rubio, we actually have someone signed up to testify on this item.
Okay, great.
Mark Porras, Portland Cop Watch.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Fantastic. Good morning, Presiding Officer Rubio and Commissioners. My name is Mark Porras. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm with the group Portland Cop Watch. We understand the parties have come to an agreement, and we have no objection to the city paying $350,000 to settle this bodily injury lawsuit resulting from a Portland police officer vehicle crash. We do hope you'll take this opportunity to discuss the policy decisions that led to this incident and to reflect upon the recent announcement by Acting Chief Day to loosen restrictions on police car chases. According to court records, Ms. Emel was a passenger in a minivan stopped in traffic in Sherwood. The records present no information about why a PPB officer was even in Sherwood, let alone why they would be driving recklessly. According to the same court records, PPB Sergeant Brett Barnum was driving a Bureau-owned SUV when suddenly and without warning, he drove the vehicle into the rear of the minivan with tremendous speed and force. The collision caused Ms. Emel to suffer head, neck, shoulder, and back injuries. We hope Ms. Emel has since recovered from those injuries caused by the former PPB Traffic Division Patrol Supervisor and motorcycle training instructor. When we hear that cops just need more training, it's important to remember that the police who are doing the training should be qualified to do that training. We raised a similar issue recently in Judge Simon's courtroom when we discovered that officers accused of misconduct during the 2020 protests are now providing leadership on the new crowd control training. In our feedback on PPB's Vehicle Intervention and Pursuits Directive last month, we said the tactics described in this policy can be life-threatening to the person being pursued and should be used in a much more limited capacity than the 87 times pursuit intervention technique, 114 times box-ins, and 8 times ramming were used in a one-year period. All told, one of those techniques was used on average once every 1.7 days. Acting Chief Day confirmed in his press conference last week that with his decision to loosen restrictions on car chases, Any officer may initiate a car chase without getting approval from a supervisor. The policy change was not data informed, and the acting chief stated that it was not made in response to any individual incident. Instead, he claimed that people drive away from police knowing they will not be chased. This sort of policy decision requires oversight from the police commissioner and city council. There's also no evidence as to whether Sergeant Barnum faced administrative or criminal charges for causing such a serious accident. Since the police commissioner is not present today, we're asking you to relay these concerns. Earlier this year, Portland Cop Watch reviewed records from 2013 to 23 showing the city paid out roughly $1.8 million for 49 other officer-related auto accidents, an average cost of over $36,000 per crash. This settlement brings the total for police crashes to over $2 million since 2013 and raises the average cost to over $42,000 per incident. Other high payouts for crashes were from April 2016, an incident costing the city over $407,000, and one from May 2018 costing $280,000. So while Sergeant Barnum isn't setting a record, it's among the top 3 we've listed. Also, a PPB car chase on October 6 led to the eventual death of the suspect who crashed a car and injured a passenger and 2 officers. As we've noted before, the U.S. DOJ settlement agreement requires the compliance officer community liaison to publish data on the payouts made by the city for police misconduct. Paragraph 170E requires the number, nature, and settlement amount of civil suits against PPB officers. The city should go a step further and publish the same data for payouts due to police vehicle crashes, especially when they're so serious in nature and could involve misconduct. The city should hold off on loosening restrictions on police chases until there's data showing the benefit to the public and not base policy changes on anecdotal cops who want to drive.
We have to wrap up. Thank you. Thank you so much. Keelan, is there any other public testimony?
No, that completes testimony.
Commissioner Mattis.
I have a quick question for our lawyer.
Yes, Commissioner.
Hi, Mallory. Just so we're all clear, was a police chase involved in this particular incident?
It was not, Commissioner.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Commissioner Gonzalez.
Just want to put on the record, our adjoining jurisdictions do generally permit police officers to pursue alleged criminals. When we're doing our stings in East Portland with respect to car thefts, we have been the only participating police force that cannot engage in chases. And so they have other techniques they have been deploying to date. It's been quite innovative, but while that's not what this settlement's really about, since the issue is raised, I think it's an important message that we're sending in recent police policy changes that it's no longer anything goes in the city of Portland. So anyways, I'd like to put that on the record. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Mattis.
I appreciate Commissioner Gonzalez's clarification on the police chase policy in the city. I just want to emphasize for my colleagues on council and for folks listening at home, especially in light of public testimony, that this particular incident did not involve a police chase. That seems to be an entirely different issue from the one we are deciding today.
Okay, this is an emergency ordinance. Keelan, would you please call the roll?
Epps.
Aye.
Ryan.
Yeah, I appreciate the testimony that was given. I do vote aye.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Rubio.
Aye. Ordinance passes. Keelan, would you call the next item, please?
Item 1070, extend Lloyd Business District Property Management License Fee for an additional 10 years and amend District Property Management License Code to update fees and due dates.
This is a second reading, so are there any further questions on our discussion on this item? Seeing none, Keelan, would you please call the roll?
Epps.
I want to thank the mayor for bringing this item forward. I vote aye.
Ryan.
Yeah, I am going to be supportive of this, but I would like to strongly encourage the Lloyd Business District to make stronger efforts to allow participation by the small businesses on the main street along Northeast Broadway that is real close to the Lloyd. It is part of the Lloyd area. And they're actually the ones that are providing the activation, if you will, of that part of town. And they could use some more support. So I assume that we can start establishing some prorated proportional rates for small businesses to be a part of these networks. That was one point I wanted to get across as I listened last week and asked questions. I will be meeting with the ESD to dive in a little bit deeper about that. That said, I will go ahead and vote aye.
Gonzalez,
Aye.
Rubio,
We lost you, Commissioner Rubio.
Sorry, I turned off my camera so that I could regain access. What point are we at?
oh, I'm sorry, just called your name for
Okay.
the,
Thank you. I want to thank the folks that came in to testify during last week's hearing, and also want to echo my colleague's sentiment about hopefully that there'll be more opportunities for small business to collaborate. But also, as the mayor stated, we look forward to collaborating in the next year. And please don't hesitate to contact our office so that we can continue the information sharing to address concerns. Happy to vote aye. So with that, the ordinance is adopted. Keelan, would you please call the next item?
item 1071, authorize agreement with Lloyd BID Incorporated for Lloyd District Property Management Services for an estimated amount of $3,550,000 over 5 years.
This too is a second reading. So colleagues, is there any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, Keelan, would you please call the roll?
Maps,
Aye.
Ryan,
Aye.
Gonzalez,
Aye.
Rubio,
Aye. The ordinance is adopted. Keelan, next item, please.
item 1072, declare as surplus city-owned property at 3737 North Emerson Street and adjacent recreational lot and authorize a public sale of the property.
Commissioner Maps.
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, this item comes to us from the Bureau of Environmental Services. This ordinance authorizes environmental services to dispose of a parcel of land the Bureau no longer needs. This property was acquired in 1996 as part of the Big Pipe project, which was completed in 2011. Because the site is not needed for BES's essential sewer and stormwater services, it is being offered for sale. This site consists of a 7-acre industrial lot and a 2.8-acre recreational lot. BES anticipates receiving several $1 million from the sale of the industrial lot. Now, those funds will go to the sewer operating fund. The recreational lot includes the Swan Island boat launch. This is one of just 3 public boat launches within the city limits. During the public outreach component of the surplus process, BES heard a strong public interest in keeping that boat launch open to the public. However, as a ratepayer-funded bureau, BES cannot retain oversight of that launch for public access. However, BES can provide a public access easement or provide the parcel outright to an organization interested in managing the site on behalf of the public. These properties are scheduled to be listed on February 5, 2024 for a minimum of 30 days. The buyer's due diligence period is anticipated to be a minimum of 9 months, with closing happening no sooner than November of 2024. This project will generate revenue for the Bureau, with costs associated with the sale coming out of the purchase price. Here to tell us more about this ordinance, we have Eli Callison, a property manager with Environmental Services. Welcome, Eli.
Thank you, Commissioner Maps. Good morning, Commissioners. Name's Eli Callison, the property manager for the Bureau of Environmental Services. I don't really actually have a lot to add to your notes, Commissioner. I'm happy to take questions on this one. I think the one thing that I will maybe just add in quickly is through this, we followed the city disposition policy. That includes providing notice to all bureaus. We receive no interest from any other bureau. We did the public notification process. We went above and beyond the public notification process because this site's located within Portland Harbor. We used the community outreach team within Portland Harbor to do an email blast to about 100 different community groups involved in Portland Harbor, just to ensure that we are above board. I mean, that we are doing as much public outreach as we can on this, and everybody's aware that this is going to be coming up for sale. Otherwise, the site is located at the upstream end of Swan Island. As the commissioner said, it's 10 acres total within 2 different parcels. And I think the challenge on this one is going to be keeping the boat launch open. And as we take this property to sell and we start receiving offers, we have opportunities either via an easement to keep that boat launch open, doing some form of deed restriction, or doing an outright transfer. And a lot of that's going to depend on who expresses interest and what mechanisms are willing to accept on it. So with that, happy to take any questions you may have.
Mr. Ryan.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, President Rubio. Eli, I just wanted to ask a couple of questions about engagement. Is a Human Access Project involved? Have they been working with you?
Human Access I received notification within the outsheet around Human Access, and and their comment was that they would like to see the boat ramp remain open, but I've not actually had dialogue with them about this site.
Yeah, they would be about restoring that space, of course, and activating the river. And then I hope that you're also engaging with the bluff up above University of Portland community.
We've not been engaging with the University of Portland community. This area is within the Overlook neighborhood. So the Overlook Neighborhood Association.
Yeah, I know where it is. And then above it is University of Portland, just to the north bit.
Okay, so the outreach that we did on it was limited to the neighborhood that it was within. So if the bluff is outside of that limit, then we would not have notified them.
Okay, even though they're right above. Okay, interesting. All right, but thank you.
Yeah.
Commissioner Maps.
Yeah, Eli, can you remind us how this is zoned and what type of buyer we would expect to be interested in this space?
Yeah, so the property is all industrial zoned. It is heavy, I believe it is heavy industrial. I apologize, I don't have that written down in my notes, but it is an it's an industrial sanctuary area. That's the 7.2 industrial lot. The recreational lot has a river recreational overlay, so actual development on the recreational lot's not viable. So we are anticipating for the industrial lot to have somebody within Swan Island community pursue it, as well as potentially somebody outside of the community that might be interested in coming down to it. The site's currently being leased by UPS. They're doing a lot of storage of vehicles on it. We've had interest expressed by Daimler, and FedEx as well has expressed some interest in the area. So like those are the 3 that have kind of been reaching out to me every year or 2 with interest about when the site might be coming up. And then the recreational lot is like I said, there's a overlay zone on it, so it cannot be used for industrial purposes. That site, the interest that we received on that has really been from the Oregon State Marine Board, from the Department of State Lands, Oregon Fish and Wildlife, all expressed a desire that the city find a way to keep the boat launch open. The Fire Bureau has expressed interest in keeping the boat launch open for the Portland Harbor Master through the Fire Bureau. And then the Coast Guard has expressed an interest in keeping that site open for some of their emergency access. So the desire is very much to find a way to keep that boat launch open, but just kind of finding the mechanism to make that happen.
Eli, thank you for that clarification. And I think we've heard the public, or at least I've heard the public loud and clear. It would be great if we could keep this boat launch open. And I'll just share with my colleagues, we've been working on trying to achieve that for quite some time. There's some challenges here. If you're going to keep it open, whoever takes responsibility for it will have to manage it. And all the sorts of challenges that you have with open spaces around the city also are present at this particular site. But I'm going to ask Eli to do what we can to make sure that we can keep this boat launch available to the public. And Madam President, I got no more questions.
Great. Thank you. Colleagues, do you have any other items to discuss on this? Is there any public testimony for this item, Keelan?
No one signed up.
Sorry, did somebody say something?
No one signed up.
Okay. Since this is a first reading, the item will move on to second reading. Thanks, everyone. Keelan, next item, please.
Item 1073, authorize competitive solicitation and contract with lowest responsive and responsible bidder and provide payment for construction of the Northeast Portland Urgent Sewer Rehabilitation Project E11487 for an estimated cost of $1,263,000.
This is a second reading, so if there is no further discussion, Keelan, would you please call the roll?
Maps,
Aye.
Ryan,
Aye.
Gonzalez,
Aye.
Rubio.
Aye, the ordinance is adopted. Keelan, next item, please.
Item 1074, accept grant for $2,153,520 from Oregon Department of Transportation. Authorize intergovernmental agreement for Northwest NATO Parkway Rail Crossing Project and appropriate $50,000 in FY 2023-24.
Commissioner Maps.
Madam President, I'm going to pull this one back to my office.
Okay. It's pulled back to his office. Any further action on this, Keelan? No? All right, let's go on to the next item.
Item 1075, declare property located near the intersection of Northeast 90th Avenue and Northeast Gleason Avenue as surplus and authorize the Bureau of Transportation to dispose of the property by sale to the East Side Church of Christ or Columbia Bible College under first option rights agreements or by sale on the open market.
Commissioner Maps.
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, this item comes to us from PBOT. Now, today I need to start out by making a motion to amend this item. I'm hoping to get a second for that motion. Then I'll introduce the amended ordinance and we'll invite staff to provide a brief presentation on this item. So now I'll make the following motion. I move that we amend the ordinance to update Columbia Bible College to Columbia Christian College. Colleagues, here's the background on this amendment. This ordinance refers to a contract that the city signed in the 1950s with Columbia Bible College. In subsequent years, that institution changed its name to Columbia Christian College. Staff tells us that the language in the ordinance needs to be updated to reflect this name change. Given that background, may I get a second?
Second.
Thank you so much, Madam President. I appreciate that. Now on to the main matter. Colleagues, this ordinance declares a parcel of land near the intersection of Northeast 90th and Northeast Gleason to be surplus property and authorizes PBOT to dispose of this land. This project has a long and complicated history. The city purchased this land in 1951 from the Columbia Christian School to support a bus turnaround. As a condition of the sale, Columbia Christian School reserved the first option to purchase the property back from the city in the event that this plot was no longer needed for a bus turnaround. Now, in 2016, Columbia Christian College transferred its first option to purchase to the East Side Church of Christ. The East Side Church of Christ has expressed an interest in purchasing this property, which brings us to the ordinance before us today. Here to tell us more about this item, we have Kevin Bullock, a right-of-way supervisor with PBOT. Welcome, Kevin.
Thank you, Commissioner Maps, for introducing this ordinance. Just a point of clarification, Commissioner Maps, I believe you mentioned in the introduction, it was the Columbia Bible, the Columbia Christian College is actually the Columbia Christian School. So that's the appropriate term. So I just want to make a point of clarification.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that clarification.
Sure. Good morning, City Council. My name is Kevin Ballack. I'm the right-of-way program supervisor at PBOT, here to discuss the proposed declaration of the property at the intersection of Northeast 90th Avenue and Northeast Gleason Street as surplus property. Next slide, please. Here's an image showing in yellow the area at the southeast corner of Northeast 90th and Northeast Gleason Street to be declared surplus. The area is 10,442 square feet. Next slide, please. This property is within the Montevilla neighborhood. It is zoned RM1, residential multi-dwelling 1. The zoning allows for the construction of up to 1 to 3 story buildings consisting of duplexes, row homes, or small apartment development. Currently, the site is a gravel parking lot and leased to the Eastside Church of Christ, the adjacent property owner. There is a BES sewer pipe along the frontage that will require the reservation of an easement. Next slide, please. As we mentioned before, the property was purchased by the city in 1951. At the time was called the Columbia Bible College, which is now the Columbia Christian Schools, to serve as a bus turnaround area for the now defunct Gleason bus line. As a condition of that sale, the Columbia Christian Schools reserved the first option to purchase back the property if the city ever sold it. The Columbia Christian Schools assigned that right of first refusal to the Eastside Church of Christ in 2016. Next slide, please. The surplus property consists of a few steps. All PBOT and city bureaus have already looked at this site and do not have an interest in keeping the property within the city portfolio. At this point, the city council has the action to declare the property excess, at which point PBOT would initiate an independent appraisal and offer fair market value to the Eastside Church of Christ. If the city cannot come to terms with the Eastside Church of Christ, city would offer to the Columbia Christian Schools. If at that point we cannot come to terms, the city would place the property on a 60-day public comment period and then sell on the open market. Next slide, please. Commissioners, thank you for your time in considering the surplus property ordinance. At this time, I can respond to any questions that you may have.
So is there any public testimony for this item?
Sorry, I was muted. No one signed up.
Okay, Commissioner Maps, anything to add before we vote?
No, I just, nope, this is a pretty straightforward street vacation. I appreciate Kevin's clear presentation.
Great. Any council discussion? Seeing none, Keelan, would you please call the roll?
President Rubio, we'll need to vote on the amendment first, and then we'll want to do the final vote.
Great.
Okay, so vote for the amendment. Maps.
So colleagues, again, this is basically clean. The amendment basically clears up a Scribner's error in the original language that was submitted in this ordinance, which is why I'm voting aye on that.
Ryan.
Aye.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Rubio.
Aye. The ordinance is adopted.
Nope.
Oh, sorry. That's right. Okay, let's go to the full ordinance now. Thank you.
Thank you. Maps.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Rubio.
Aye. Now the ordinance is adopted. So thank you, everyone. Keelan, please, next item.
Item 1076. Vacate a portion of Northeast 24th Avenue south of Northeast Columbia Boulevard, subject to certain conditions and reservations.
Colleagues, this is a second reading. So if there is no further discussion, Keelan, would you please call the roll?
Maps.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Rubio.
Aye. The ordinance is adopted. Keelan, next item, please.
Item 1077. Authorize intergovernmental agreement with Energy Northwest for operations and maintenance services for the Portland Hydroelectric project for $8,161,810.
Okay, so this is again a second reading. If there's no further discussion, Keelan, would you please call the roll?
Epps.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Rubio.
Aye. The ordinance is adopted. Next item, please, Keelan.
Item 1078. Amend Building Regulations Code to adopt portions of the 2021 International Building Code, the State of Oregon 2023 edition of the Oregon Residential Specialty Code, and the 2022 edition of the Oregon Structural Specialty Code.
Thank you. Colleagues, today I'm requesting that council adopt the amendment to Title 24.10.010. BDS administers Portland City Code Title 24 Building Regulations, and the State Building Codes Division regularly updates the Oregon Structural Specialty Code based on the most recent version of the International Building Code. In its 2022 Oregon Structural Specialty Code update, the State Building Codes Division did not adopt any provisions of Chapter 32 and various sections of Chapter 33 from the 2021 International Building Code into the 2022 Oregon Structural Specialty Code. The sections of 2021 International Building Code Chapter 33 that are being added to Title 24 are International Building Code sections 3301, General 3306, Protection of Pedestrians, 3307, Protection of Adjoining Property, 3308, Temporary Use of Streets, Alleys, and Public Property. Additionally, this ordinance adds a severability clause to Title 24 by adding Section 2410-150. And I'd like to introduce Matt Roselle to present this item.
Thank you, Commissioner Rubio, and thank you, Commissioners. My name is Matt Roselle. I'm the building official for the City of Portland, and I'm here to give a quick overview of the changes and answer any questions you may have. The State Building Codes Division has been working to align the building code with the statutes and make sure that the scoping within those building codes matches with state statute and the building code, and just align those. They've been working on that since about 2016, and they're still continuing to make those changes, which is why this came up this code cycle. The state does allow local municipalities to adopt these codes, which is why we're here today. We also worked with PBOT and our land use partners to ensure that it aligns with their codes. And approving this will fix the gap in our current building regulations to address encroachments into the right-of-way and safeguards during construction. Happy to answer any questions.
Colleagues, any questions or discussion on this item?
I have a question, Madam President.
Sure.
Matt, because I dug into the challenges with permitting, and we'd often hear from our customers that it was trying to understand what they call code clutter and how it sometimes they weren't aligned up with state statutes. I'm hoping that I hear that this due diligence and what we're voting on today is a step in the right direction.
Yes, I believe it is. Currently, we do not have any regulation over the encroachments into the right-of-way, which is projections in buildings, and also there is a gap in the safeguards during construction, which this provides us the ability to ensure that those pieces are within the building code for the City of Portland.
Yeah, and perhaps what made me the happiest was at the end when you said it aligns with PBOT codes. So internally, we did that step, because sometimes in the past it sounds like we haven't always done that. So yeah. So colleagues, this is a great example of how we are improving our permit system when we look at the alignment with statutes and within our own bureaus who sometimes weren't coordinated. So I'm hoping that that's what I'm hearing in the details of this presentation, and I appreciate it.
Yep.
Okay, any further questions or discussions on this item? All right, is there any public testimony on this item, Keelan?
No one signed up.
Okay, so since this is a first reading, the item will move on to second reading. So thanks, everyone. Thanks, Matt. Next item, Keelan, please.
Item 1079, amend city code to update certain boards of appeal terms, reduce the number of alternate members, and make other process changes.
Colleagues, today I'm requesting that council adopt the amendments to titles 24, 25, 26, and 27. The Bureau of Development Services administers these titles and administers external boards of appeal to hear building, plumbing, electrical, and HVAC appeals. One of the more important changes in this ordinance is that it amends the external board of appeals to allow members to serve a third term if a board meeting hasn't been convened during their first two terms. So here to explain the changes in more detail again is Matt Roselle with BDS.
Thank you, Commissioner Rubio. Again, my name is Matt Roselle. I'm the building official. And this is just some housekeeping items in these titles to, again, allow people to serve a third term. These boards do not meet often. Sometimes, it's 4 or 5 years before they meet, and people will be assigned for a 3-year term and never meet during those. So this allows them to serve an additional term if the board did not convene during that time period. We are also making a change where, and we're just clarifying this, that if somebody presents something at our administrative appeals board, they have to present the exact same information to the Board of Appeals. So this minimizes any conflicts in the testimony, and it also creates a level playing field, and we're not approving something differently at the Board of Appeals than we did in the administrative portion. And let's see, we had one other change, which is we're having somebody from the River Advisory Committee be a subject matter expert on the Building Code Board of Appeals. Their work is often nuanced because they're floating structures, and we wanted somebody from the River Advisory Committee to be a subject matter and help guide those people on the board and the appeals groups in answering any of those questions. So, thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Is there any public testimony for this item, Keelan?
No one signed up.
Okay, any council discussion from my colleagues? Okay, so since this is a first reading, the item will move on.
Actually, I have a quick question.
Okay.
As always, I'm curious. When I heard that sometimes they don't meet for 4 or 5 years, it made me think 2 things. Why do we have these bodies, and are we not meeting enough? I guess I wasn't really questioning anything until I heard that. And it certainly made the case for why you'd want to roll in 3rd terms.
Right. We have our administrative appeals board, which meets weekly, and we hear those appeals. Most of those appeals are resolved at that level. If we deny one of those appeals, then the appellant has the opportunity to go to the Board of Appeals, which is professionals from either plumbing, electrical, or building, or mechanical, and they can present their case to those professionals on that board and potentially get a different outcome than what the administrative appeals came up with. So
and
it
just
we did just meet last week with the Building Code Board of Appeals. It had been a while since we met, but they are used when needed.
Do they receive the weekly updates that you said the professional staff approve of? Do they receive notes from those meetings, or how do they stay current if they're not meeting very frequently?
We typically reach out to them annually and just let them know kind of where we're at. We do not give them updates on the weekly appeals that we hear. We, honestly try not to burden them too much and give them too much information that isn't necessary for their positions.
Thank you. I couldn't help myself once you said what you mentioned earlier. I just wanted to make sure that the volunteers are being utilized, and I want to thank them for their time. So what you said made some sense. Thanks.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Since this is the first reading, the item will move on to 2nd reading. So thanks again, Matt.
Thank you.
Keelan, next item, please.
Item 1080, amend permit fee schedules for all Type A accessory short-term rentals.
So colleagues, I'm going to refer this back to my office for further work. So we'll be in touch about rescheduling that. Next item, please, Keelan.
Item 1081, accept and appropriate $9,750,000 from Multnomah County and authorize intergovernmental agreement for affordable housing development and acquisition.
Colleagues, I'm excited about this ordinance, which would allow the Portland Housing Bureau to execute an intergovernmental agreement with Multnomah County to receive $9.75 million for affordable housing and development acquisition. These funds were set aside by the county in their fiscal year 24 budget and will be leveraged with other city funds, including Metro Housing Bond funds, PISA funds that are both managed by the Portland Housing Bureau. We're pleased to work with Multnomah County and Chair Vega Peterson to expedite the development and acquisition of affordable housing. So I'll now pass it off to the team at PHB to share more about this partnership and also share a few projects that applied for these funds this fall that have just recently been awarded funding. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you so much. I apologize, commissioners. I see that Jill Chen is in the space and was anticipating that Jill would come off camera, and there she has. Excellent. I'm here as backup. Jill, take it away.
Oh, thank you, Michael. Keelan, would you mind putting the slides on?
Hi, Jill. We're looking, I don't know that we received any. If you want to send them to us, we can bring them up really quickly. You can send them to Council Clerk, portlandoregon.gov.
Commissioner Rubio, if that's going to take a moment, I may run to the bathroom. Is there any way we can take a 1 minute?
Sure, that's a great idea. Why don't we give a 5-minute break and then we can be back here at 11:25.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Rubio. And we are so pleased to inform City Council that PHB has already exceeded the total number of units to be produced under the Metro Bond measure. Next slide, please, Keelan. As Commissioner Rubio indicated, PHB is pleased that Multnomah County is providing $9.7 million to be used in conjunction with the city's allocation of the Metro Housing Bond. As of the third quarter 2023, PHB is on track to produce over 1,500 units of newly regulated affordable housing in 21 projects throughout the city of Portland. Many are already open or opening in the near future and will house over 4,000 Portlanders. In addition, many will be for families and deeply affordable for households earning less than 30% area median income. Next slide, please, Keelan. The purpose of the IGA with the county is to build on this work, creating as many new affordable housing as quickly as possible within reasonable cost and unleash the city's development pipeline. Next slide, please. The county is generously offering $9.7 million in general funds from its fiscal year 24 budget to support innovative housing options that are funded in PHB's last gap solicitation, including affordable housing projects to provide the final amount needed to purchase or renovate. PHB's last gap solicitation is a combination of funding from multiple sources of capital funds, including Metro bonds, the county funds, operational support from Home Forward, and service support from the Joint Office of Homeless Services, as well as eligible costs, clean energy costs from the Portland Clean Energy Fund. The solicitation seeks to push projects through the finish line and fill gaps as quickly as possible in light of increasing construction costs and rise and interest rates. We are pleased to next slide, please. We are pleased to highlight 3 projects that have been awarded funding and are moving forward financial close and construction. The first is an integrated family-focused permanent supportive housing project sponsored by Reach CDC on 73rd and Foster near the Mikado and Reach's 72nd and Foster project. The project has already received 9% low-income housing tax credits and supportive housing funding from Oregon Housing and Community Services, and it will require only about $3.7 million to complete the funding. We are on track to close next month, fingers crossed, and start construction quickly thereafter. The project will create 64 new affordable units, including 22 for homeless and formerly homeless residents coming from coordinated access. Next slide, please. The second is a partnership among Portland Community College, Our Just Future, Apano, and Edlin & Co. It is built on a 1.6 acre lot on the southeast division, just off Division Street. It will be a new model to integrated live-learn from non-traditional PCC students, as well as residents living on or near campus. Similarly, the project has already received Oregon Housing and Community Service funding through their LIFT program and require about $5 million from the Housing Bureau to complete its capital stack, and it is targeted to start construction in summer of 2024. It will create 124 units, including 63 for families in the Jade District. Next slide, please. The final project being shown today is a collaboration between Habitat for Humanity and the Greater Portland Bible Church using a underutilized parking lot, which will be transformed into 52 townhomes, predominantly for low-income Portlanders, especially those needing large 2 to 5 bedroom homes. Many are focused on the immigrant community in the neighborhood in Capitol Hill. And this one also received Oregon Housing and Community LIFT program for home ownership. And this one is also on track to start construction in the first half of 2024. We have just heard that today, this project is actually newly named Gooseberry Trails. And it is very exciting as a collaboration with one of our communities of faith. Next slide, please. As the projects demonstrated earlier, the Metro bonds and the county funds will be used to target development that can be pushed to the finish line and unleash development potential in the city of Portland and create as many affordable housing projects as possible. Therefore, we are asking City Council to first authorize the commission in charge of housing or the Portland Housing Bureau interim director to enter into an intergovernment agreement with the county. Second, to authorize the Housing Bureau interim director delegated authority to modify, if needed, by amendment, any such modifications as is necessary. And third, to authorize the city to receive payment of the $9.75 million from the county. And that concludes the formal presentation. Any questions, comments? Thank you so much, everyone.
Sorry, I was talking. Commissioner Maps.
That's fine. Thank you very much. I want to thank staff for the presentation. Just 2 quick questions. I'm not exactly sure if I understand the relationship between the ordinance before us today and the some of the projects that you highlighted, like the Capitol Hill project and the PCC project. So we're using this 9.7 to basically complete the capital stacks for affordable housing projects that are in the pipeline.
That is
basically what we're at.
Yes, Commissioner Maps, thank you for the question. We are using a combination of the county funds and Metro bonds to complete all the capital stack in the 3 projects. Yes.
Okay, got it. And could we pull up? It's probably easiest to ask this question if we pull up a slide. I think you pretty much ended on a slide that showed 3 bullet points. Can we pull that back up? So I have a question about the point number 2, authorize the Housing Bureau interim director to be delegated the authority to modify and amend. Modify and amend what? Maybe is the question.
Thank you, Commissioner Maps. We had provided a draft IGA to City Council. And in that IGA, there may be certain terms such as dates that might be amended. The county may also give us greater authority to do other types of work if that works for both the county and the city. So we're asking for that amendment. It does not modify or increase any of the city's financial obligations or risk.
Okay. Is it common practice for the Housing Bureau, or actually, is it common practice for council to delegate the power to, I think, amend an IGA to a bureau director? I don't know the answer to that. Or is this something we do all the time, or is this a little bit unusual?
I believe under most IGAs that are presented to City Council, there is the ability to modify an IGA so long it does not increase the risk, the amounts, or any of the other critical terms. Usually the things that are amended, like I mentioned, are certain dates, just to make sure that the city and the county can accomplish what is needed.
Okay, thank you very much. I got no more.
Thank you.
Right. Any other questions? Keelan, is there any public testimony on this item?
We had two people sign up. The first one, John Pimentel. I don't think they're here. The next person is Haley Alves. Haley, can you hear us?
Yes. Thank you, Commissioners, for hearing my testimony. My name is Haley Alves, and I'm a representative with the Carpenters Union and a resident of Portland. I want to submit this comment so that it's added to the public record because it's important to bring to light some information about events that take place on construction projects that have received Metro bond funding. I have personally witnessed workers who are being paid in cash and personal checks without deductions on the Powellhurst Place project. When contractors commit tax fraud in this way, the effects cascade from the individual workers out into the community. The community members that are forced to work off the books are unable to prove their income to finance a car, rent an apartment, or achieve the dream and stability of homeownership for their families. When these workers are injured at work or fired unjustly, even when their boss fails to pay them, there's no safety net available. Their children miss meals, fall behind at school, fail to thrive. Desperately needed funding for schools, hospitals, and infrastructure are lost. We allow public money to boost the profits of a contractor and leave those with the least power in a broken system behind. I can assure you that this is not limited to a single project either. It's bigger than you could most likely imagine. With that being said, I ask that as community leaders, we convene and work together regarding how we're going to safeguard the local workforce from the exploitation that has occurred because of the accessibility of these bonds. How are we helping to address our housing crisis when we allow affordable housing to be built on the backs of exploited workers who then qualify for even more affordable housing? We need to do better when it comes to vetting who and what developers have access to our tax dollars by adding language to ensure responsible contractors are selected moving forward. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Haley. Commissioner Maps.
I just wanted to thank Haley for her testimony here. I don't have very much operational day-to-day responsibilities in the space, so I'm not exactly sure how this works, but I did want to encourage Haley to maybe reach out to the ombudsman for the city to share whatever concerns that you might have. I think that might be a great place to start. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any further testimony, Keelan?
No, that completes testimony.
Okay. So if there's no further discussion, would you please call the roll?
Maps.
Aye. Oh, actually, and I want to say something else. Colleagues, I think everyone in this room has heard me be occasionally critical of the joint office and the contracts and the IGAs we make with the joint office because they are underspecified. It's not clear sort of where the dollars are going for or whatnot. I want to praise Commissioner Rubio because this is an example of an IGA for affordable housing, which is clearly specified. We know how many dollars are going into the system and basically what we're going to buy with it. I think this is an example of good government, and I hope that we will emulate examples like this as we could sign future IGAs with our partners over at the county. For these reasons, the more I vote aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Rubio.
I want to thank Jill and her team for all their excellent work on these awards. I know how much work and consideration went into these packages. It's really great to be able to offer these last gap funds to get these projects over the finish line. And I also want to lift up that it's possible because of the careful and efficient stewardship by the PHB staff on the different bond funds that were available. So great job, everyone. Very happy to vote aye. So with that, it passes and we will move on to the next item. Thank you, everyone.
Item 1082, amend intergovernmental agreement with Multnomah County to authorize FY 2023-24 budget allocation to the Joint Office of Homeless Services.
Colleagues, as you know, the Joint Office of Homeless Services is the city-county office overseeing services for populations experiencing homelessness or at risk of becoming homeless. Formed in 2016, the Joint Office coordinates local, state, and federal funding to address the homelessness crisis in Portland and Multnomah County. As part of the fiscal year 23-24 annual budget approved by Council in June, the Council allocated both city and federal resources to the Joint Office, which oversees the city's investments in preventing and ending homelessness. The action in front of us today is the annual technical amendment to the IGA, as needed to move those funds over to the Joint Office. Colleagues, PHB's Interim Director, Michael Boncourt, is here with us today to provide more information and answer any questions that any of you may have on this item.
Thank you, Commissioner Rubio. Commissioners, as Commissioner Rubio said, this is a routine and technical amendment. The hard work you've already done in approving the budget amount, and this is simply an administrative step that is taken every year that allows us to amend the IGA with the specific budget amount, and then to be able to make payments to the Joint Office.
So is there any council discussion on this item? Commissioner Mapps? You're muted, Commissioner.
Yeah. So what time period will these dollars cover? What fiscal year am I thinking about here? I'm starting when and ending when?
This is for the current fiscal year that we are in and ending June 30, 2024.
So we're kind of halfway through the fiscal year, right?
We are.
And so what does this, how does this, so what are we doing here? Are we making some just mid-year adjustments, or I think of this as our spring bump or something different?
No, this is, I think, perhaps a bit of reflection of transition that has happened both at the Portland Housing Bureau and the Joint Office. So this is something we would typically have done earlier in the fall, but it doesn't reflect anything other than, again, a technical process step related to the budget that you all have approved.
Do we have a sense of what's being purchased with this $43 million?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, this is, you know, the services that have been budgeted for and agreed upon, you know, through the budget process. And again, this is simply allowing us to amend the current IGA to reflect the dollar amount.
Okay, and Michael, it's unfair of me to put you in this spot. I think everyone in the room knows that I am seeking greater clarity on how city dollars that go into the Joint Office are spent. I wish the city had more control over that. It seems like today we might not be in a position to really fully address this. I'm looking at, for example, I think I'm looking at the exhibit that describes where some of these fundings, where some of these dollars are going. Some of it looks good. Seems like we also have spending categories, or at least aspirational spending categories around employment or service coordination teams, and I'm not clear what's happening there. Again, instead of dragging staff through a bunch of difficult conversations, I'll just take this moment to talk to my colleagues and say, the next time we do an amendment to this IGA, I hope that we get some real clarity in terms of where our city taxpayer dollars are going, especially in the homeless space. Thank you.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
I just want to note to sort of that may help clarify with respect to Commissioner Mapps's questions here. I have a general stylistic recommendation into the mayor's office and to the city attorney's office on how we're handling this particular agreement. When we update the budget, we're doing with amendments each year. And it makes it incredibly difficult to reopen and sort of track what's happening with this agreement. And so Commissioner Mapps's observations are actually broader and more substantive, and I echo many of them. But there is a stylistic challenge in just the way we present the budget and how it gets affixed to this agreement that I am hoping in the new agreement we rethink how we present it, so we don't have to do amendments every time. I recognize this is a technical cleanup, but there is, we're approaching 20 amendments on that agreement, and it's because of the way we deal with budgets under there. It makes it impossible to read. It leads to conflicting interpretations of the existing agreement, and what we're doing today is largely ministerial, but I would just also put that on in addition to the more substantive issues Commissioner Mapps is raising, that just stylistically and procedurally, we can make this a lot simpler to follow going forward, hopefully in the new intergovernmental agreement. So leave it at that.
Any other comments? Okay, is there any other public testimony on this item, Keelan?
We had one person sign up, Alan Combs, but they're not here, so no testimony.
Okay, would you please call the roll?
Maps.
I just want to thank, well, number one, I want to thank Commissioner Rubio for bringing this forward, and I really appreciate Commissioner Gonzalez for helping clarify why I'm confused. That was helpful to me, and his reforms make a lot of sense to me. Moving forward, I hope that we can move in that direction. I vote aye.
Ryan?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Rubio and the team at the Housing Bureau. And I thought the dialogue was really important, and I appreciate it. I vote aye.
Gonzalez?
Aye.
Rubio?
I vote aye. So the item moves forward, and we will move on to the next item. Thank you so much, Michael.
Item 1083, amend contract with Titan Utilities LLC for emergency sinkhole repairs for an estimated cost of $679,900.
Commissioner Mapps.
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, this item comes to us from the Bureau of Environmental Services. This ordinance authorizes environmental services to modify an existing contract with Titan Utilities LLC to cover the cost of emergency repairs to address a sinkhole that developed under active railroad lines. Here's the basic background on this ordinance. Environmental Services was replacing a sewer outflow pipe that runs underneath a portion of railroad track along the east side of the Willamette River. A sinkhole developed while replacing that pipe. Our contractor on this project, Titan Utilities LLCs, made emergency repairs to stabilize this infrastructure. The ordinance before us today allows BES to cover the cost of these emergency repairs and associated impacts. This contract modification will cost approximately $679,000 and will result in a total contract value of about $2 million. Here to tell us more about this ordinance, we have Todd Perimond, an engineering supervisor with Environmental Services. Welcome, Todd.
Thank you, Commissioner Mapps. Good morning, Commissioners. Yes, I'm Todd Perimond, engineering supervisor with the Bureau of Environmental Services Construction Division. And as Commissioner Mapps said, the ordinance today is requesting authorization to increase the amount of one of our construction contracts. This project is currently active. Next slide, please. This is our Outfall 42 project. The Outfall 42 project is a stormwater outfall. The scope of the project was to replace a deteriorated brick maintenance hole and outfall piping that flows to the Willamette River. And we awarded this contract in April of 2023 following competitive bidding. And as we can see in the photo here, where we have our construction equipment staged in an auxiliary parking lot to access the outfall pipe that flows to the Willamette River. And between the access to that pipe and the actual outfall location, we have two high volume rail main lines operated by Union Pacific Railroad. Next slide, please. So this is one of the challenges of the site and required us to use trenchless installation methods to access the outfall location and tunnel underneath the rail lines. Because the outfall is below the ordinary high water mark of the Willamette River, we also had in-water work limitations and permitting considerations that impacted our work. Next slide, please. Unfortunately, during the tunneling operations, a sinkhole did develop. You can see that in the photos here. In the upper photo between the two rail lines, the upper rail line is an abandoned line. The other two are active. To keep these main lines operational, immediate repairs were required and performed by Union Pacific crews to stabilize the site, maintain those rails as active. However, we are looking at a engineered long-term solution, and we're in discussions with Union Pacific on what that repair is going to look like. One of the additional larger elements that occurred as a result of this is increased settlement monitoring of those tracks and rail operations observation to make sure that that site remains stable and that we don't have any safety issues or hazards associated with that. So that work is ongoing. Next slide, please. The financial impacts, as Commissioner Mapps mentioned, the original contract was $1.3 million. We estimate the total changes to be about $523,000. Because we are still working on what that final solution is going to look like for the repair. We have a construction contingency of $156,000, and we're seeking authorization to increase the contract by roughly 52%. Next slide, please. So the current status, the initial infrastructure that we constructed is installed and operational, which is great news. Monitoring the tracks for settlement continues, and that will continue beyond the construction, again, to make sure that the site is stable. We are in discussions with Union Pacific for review and approval of the repair methods. That's ongoing. And then when we have that established, we will enter final negotiations of quantities and costs with our construction contractor. Next slide, please. So in summary, that's the project and our request. I'll take any questions if there are any.
Colleagues, any questions or further discussion on this item? Keelan, is there any public testimony?
No one signed up.
Okay, great. Well, if there's no further discussion, Keelan,
Madam President, I believe Commissioner Ryan has his hand up.
Commissioner Ryan, I apologize. You were off my line of sight.
No, I understand. Hey, I just want to hear from Commissioner Mapps and from the presenter if the picture that we saw is a before picture.
I'm going to get that.
I couldn't tell from tracking that presentation. So it's a little horrifying to just sit here and not ask that question and don't I? So, yeah.
I'm going to kick that over to the real professionals in the room. Todd?
Yes, sir. That is a before picture, and those were the immediate repairs that were required. They were actually performed the evening that sinkhole developed. So the site is currently stable.
I know that you focused on the long term, and so we focused on that, and so but the picture just kept looming, and it was horrifying. So I wanted to make sure that I definitely heard you say that the short term fix was also put in motion right away. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner Ryan. Sorry about that. So Commissioner Mapps, anything else further you'd like to add?
I just want to thank Todd for today's presentation, and I want to thank all my crews who are out there addressing this particular project. Colleagues, I'll point out that this is an example of why maintaining your infrastructure is so important. This is a fascinating case study right here, where we have a sewer outflow pipe, a railroad line, and the river kind of all coming together in a very complex way. All three of those systems I just talked about are indeed, or on top of that, are governed by their own political entities. So just a lot of stuff going on here. It's one of the lessons I've learned from this experience is just how important the meat and potatoes work of just making sure that our roads, our pipes, our railroads are functioning properly is. I appreciate everyone who helped us get to this moment. I'm glad that we have stabilized the situation and are able to get back to the work of keeping Portland moving.
Great. Thank you. So if there's no further discussion, Keelan, would you please call the roll?
Epps,
Aye.
Ryan,
Yeah, I'm reminded why we have emergency ordinances when we have a discussion like this. I vote aye.
Gonzalez,
Aye.
Rubio.
Aye, the ordinance is adopted. And so colleagues, that was our last item. So now we are adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.